Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So we were hearing from Radharaman Prabhu some beautiful glories of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, reading from the lecture we published this morning on bhakta.org and in our newsletter. So if anyone wants to read these classes, the best thing is to go to bhakta.org and you can sign up for the newsletter there. It's on every post, and you can every day get Harikatha in your inbox to brighten your day, to give some immortal wisdom and teachings. So we're going to continue reading. We heard some of his glories of his life and pastimes. Now we're going to hear the translation and discuss the song Vaishnav Ke. Who is a Vaishnav? Who is a Vaishnav? I remember this is a question people asked Srila Gurudev. Who is a Vaishnav? Gurudev said very simply, who is a Vaishnav? So we're going to hear Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada's conception about who is a Vaishnav according to his immortal instructions he gave in this song. I was thinking the other day that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada spoke so powerfully, but he had such a great impact. Also, you can't say that because of his powerful speech, he didn't have any impact. But there's a story that when he was a young boy, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his father, one time had to go for a business. And he had a regular class he was giving, but he asked his son Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada to continue that class while he was absent. And before Bhaktivinoda Thakur left, there were hundreds and hundreds of people present for his class. And when he came back after some time, he saw there was only 2 or 3 people present in the class. So he asked his son, Saraswati Thakur, Bimala Prasad, what happened? There were so many people in the class, now there's only 2 or 3 people. He said, what can I do? So many people in the name of bhajan are doing so many illicit practices, so much sahajya, sakhi beki, jati gosai, nara, nari, so many apasampradayas. So I was speaking the straight truth, straight shooter. He was speaking the truth, and many people could not tolerate it. Vaishnavas in Radhikunj also say sometimes when they're speaking Harikatha, it's like taking a peeler, peeling the skin, and then putting chili and salt. But after, that's only for those who are filled with mundane conceptions that they're very attached to, and so many kinds of ideas they're so attached to they can't give them up. So Vaishnavas have to speak these things to them. Not that it's to them, but if they're speaking the truth and you are hiding in the shadow and darkness, then you will not like the sun of pure truth. But for those who are already in the sunlight is very warming and nourishing. So it's like that with Vaishnavas. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said if they were following the pure path of bhajan, they would not be disturbed to hear my words. So we're going to be talking about this song, Dusta Mana Tumi Kishra Vaishnav, and it's like a chastisement. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, that for those who are sincerely following the path of bhajan, these words are nourishing, like those who, again, like the sun. But if you have certain creatures that hide in the darkness, when the sun rays come upon them, then they get disturbed and leave. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, you could say that, perhaps he wouldn't be successful if he spoke so strongly. Was it like that? Bhaktivinoda Thakur was speaking in a more liberal way, and Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada was more strong and strict. However, what was the effect of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada's preaching? We can look around the world today. All his disciples, he himself established over 60 centers, 64 centers, Mat Kendras, and then his disciples, Srila Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada, hundreds of centers to this day, hundreds and hundreds of ISKCON centers, our Srila Gurudev, so many centers, Param Gurudev, 40 centers, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Shira Goswami Maharaj, Bhakti Sadanga Goswami Maharaj, Bhakti Hriday Ban Goswami Maharaj, Bhakti Dharita Madhav Goswami Maharaj, so many, Bhakti Pratik Tirtha Goswami Maharaj, so many of his illustrious disciples preached so powerfully and cleansed the hearts of all the jivas. Sadta Ivaisha Chindanti. The sadhu's words are like thunderbolts, but they are cleansing and purifying the hearts of the jivas, and then they help create a fertile ground for the development and awakening of pure love, prem. Bhakti. Bhakti Lata Beach. First you have to till the field. This is called cutting the jungle, taking out the rocks and stones and tilling the field and then planting. And then you can have a nice crop or garden. Many nice fruits and flowers. So we were just reading about Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. He said, I spent so much time cleansing the jungles of Sahajya, Mayavad, all the Apasampradayas. But my real intention was Raga Marga Bhakti Loke Kurite Pracharam. This is Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada's words. In his final instructions, he was singing, what was that verse? Yasya kadapi vasananchala kelanota dhanyati dhanya pavanena kritartamani Yogindra Durga Magatir Madhusutanopi Tasya Namostu Vrishabhanu Bhuvodishepi. I'm meditating and praying to Srimati Radhika and to her kinkaris. And I just pray to be like a stick in the broom that sweeps the kunjas in Braj. This was his prayer. So he said, really, I've come to teach and preach this, and you should all come under the shelter of the teachings of Sri Rupa and Raghunath. So, the Vaishnavacharyas have worked so hard to create a good, fertile foundation for us. And now we have to preach that. But when you are a gardener, for those who have done gardening, you know that watering the plant isn't enough. You have to also uproot the weeds. So this is like a constant process. Wherever you give a lot of nourishment, a lot of protein, you can say, then many things come there to try to take that for themselves. Many upasakas, many weeds. So they have to always be continually uprooted so that the true creeper of devotion can be nourished. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada and Acharyas are expert at that. Our Srila Gurudev specifically, he focused more on Braj Katha because our Acharyas have they've cleaned the field already. And so much time is spent on cutting the jungles, but now we have to give them the essence. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, in his final instructions, he was saying, I wanted to preach this Rupanuga, Raganuga Bhakti. But so much work had to be done to prepare for this. But I want you to all follow the footsteps of Sri Rupa and Raghunath. Rupa and Raghunath Pade Jara As. We're all praying to follow the footsteps of Rupa and Raghunath. Rupa and Raghunath, what books did they establish? Their books were not as much cutting the jungles as much as they were establishing the prayojan, the ultimate goal of life, and the abhideya, the process to get there, and the sambandha, the knowledge of the jiva's ultimate possible attainment of service in Braj, following the Brajabasis, especially following the kinkaris of Srimati Radhika. So our Acharyas, they want to give this. And even in this song, Dushta Mana Tumiri Kishra Vaishnav, you can see in the end how Prabhupada is talking about the gopis and the Brajabasis. So we'll jump right in. But I just wanted to make that point that Prabhupada was very successful in his preaching, but he never compromised speaking the truth. He never compromised even a little bit. He said, I'm speaking only for the pleasure of Sri Krishna, my Gurudev, Mahaprabhu. That Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, we were talking yesterday, he was chanting 1 billion names. So in his life, it's an interesting thing that there's everything is according to adhikar, eligibility. That's why it's so important to be under guidance, anugatya. Because if you're not under guidance, you don't know how to act according to your eligibility. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, he could sit in one place and do apparent nirjan bhajan for many years, 8-9 years, chanting Harinam, Purascharan. A firm vow to chant 1 billion names. After that, then, he was more focused on preaching. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, all the acharyas, Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Panchatattva, appeared before Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, now go and preach. So he chanted 1 billion names. Now in this song, Dusta Manektumi, he's telling, oh, what kind of cheater are you, hiding in a solitary place, thinking you're doing Nam Bhajan, but only for Pratishtha. That's why we were talking yesterday about the importance of having the right mood. And in this song, it's very important. It's mostly about developing the proper mood and the proper practice. So everything's according to your adhikar, your eligibility. You have to understand, have a very discerning understanding of the instructions of Guru and Vaishnavas and follow under their guidance at all steps. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, Srila Gokshaladas Babaji Maharaj, his Gurudev told him, don't go to Calcutta. Where was the first place he established a temple, a mutt? In Calcutta. So people may say, oh, he's not following his Gurudev's instruction. But he said, no, I never left Brajapatan. Wherever, we were hearing about this also in the class that we were reading. Brajapatan means the branch office of Braj. Like also here in New York, we're trying to make a Brajapatan. It means like a embassy of Brajadam, an embassy of the spiritual world, Braj, the topmost Goloka, Brajadam, Gokuldam, We're trying to have an embassy of that Braj. Coming here, we don't think, oh, I am in New York. We try to think that I am in a spiritual capsule. Here is my Srila Gurudev, here's my Srila Prabhupada, here's my Brinda Devi. Wherever Brinda Devi is, that is Vrindavan. Wherever the Vaishnavas are, that is Vrindavan. So this is Brajapat, a branch office of Vrindavan. Jaistan Vaishnavgan, Sestan Vrindavan, Sestan Ananda Ashe. So wherever we are, we try to always be in Sadhu Sangha. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, I never went to Calcutta. I went straight to the temple, and in the temple I'm always surrounded by Sadhu Sangha, doing Kirtan, Shravan, Kirtan, Smaran, Vishnupada, Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam. So I'm always in Braj, I'm always in Mayapur. Some people said, oh, don't take disciples. He said, I never took any disciples. I took those devotees who would be my Vipad Udharan Bandhav, my dear friends helping me from a very dangerous circumstance in this world. That is what I've done. I've not taken disciples, he said. Everyone who's with me is my dear, dear friend helping me, protect me from Maya, engaging me in Harikatha and Kirtan. Therefore, whoever he would, even his disciples, he would offer pranam to them, say, Dasosmi, I'm your servant. Dasosmi, Dasoham, I am your servant. He would call everyone Prabhu. Even his own disciples he would call Prabhu. You can imagine. He had such a mentality. So this is the exalted mentality of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. It's very hard for us to understand in the full extent. We can get some glimmer, some glimpse of it if we're fortunate. But to understand Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada fully is very difficult. He is so on such a high transcendental platform. Even his language was very difficult to understand. When he spoke in English, even those with the highest British education in India, they could not understand his English. He used such advanced vocabulary. He was so intelligent. It said that when he was once teaching the king's prince for some months, he studied all the books in the royal library and he memorized everything. He was a Shrutidar. He could look at it once and memorize it all. So he was so intelligent like that. But ultimately we understand these things are not his. What is his true glories? His true glory is that he is Srimati Radhika's eternal maidservant. And he, like his father, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself said, Kamala Manjari Nam. We shouldn't think this is Sahajiaism, that Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada showed that you follow everything very strictly, very pakka, very proper, perfect Vaidhi sadhana. But that doesn't mean that you don't aspire following the moods of the Brajavasis, especially those in the ras you aspire for. Tat tat katas rachas chaso kuryan vasam braje sada. What are we supposed to do? Krishna smaram janam chasya pristam nija samanhitam tat tat kataratas shaso kuryan vasam braje sada. Remember the pastimes of Sri Krishna with those associates of Krishna that you aspire to serve under, to serve like, that you want to emulate. So even while those in the Gaudiya Maths follow very strict, serious sadhana, very strict practice, everyone chanting 64 rounds, all day outside, preaching, all day engaged in seva, and yet internally they developed all these moods. Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj glorified Gurudev once, saying, oh, Radharani did not give permission for all of us to speak like he does. But she specifically gave instruction for him. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, you must spread this pure mood of Braj Bhakti Ras, especially of this desire, this aspiration to become Srimati Radhika's Balyadasi. She gave him this specific instruction, and we can see that in Gurudev's life. When Gurudev was in 2009 Kartik, from Seva Kunj, Srimati Radhika there woke up her pujari at night and said, get up, take my prasadi mala and my prasadi tulsi and my chanda and everything to Srila Narayan Maharaj. He is my very dear servant. Please go and take this. She had specifically given him this instruction. That's why we hear in the end of this song, we're going to get to it now, but in the end, he calls himself Sri Daita Das. Who is Daita? Daita is Srimati Radhika. Sri Daita, Sri Barsha Bhanavi Devi Daita Das. Radha Dasye Rahi Chado Boga Ahi Pratistasha Nahi Kirtana Gaurav. Radha Nitya Jan Tahe Chadi Man Kenova Nirjana Bhajana Kaitav. So in the end, he establishes this mood of Radha Dasyam. He says it directly. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada is not saying Subal Saka Dasyam, Yashoda Mata Dasyam, Patrak Ratak Dasyam, Trinavarta Dasyam. Radha dasye rahi, chado boga ahi, pratistasa nahi kirtana gorav. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada also, when he was coming on the Jaladuta, when he was writing his prayers in Bengali, he wrote, if Radharani desires, Radhikara Icha Have, Radharanir Icha Have. If Radharani desires, then I can serve Shri Krishna. Therefore I'm taking shelter of Srimati Radhika. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada is also like that. In the end he's saying, becoming situated in Radha Dasya. Radha Dasya Rahi Chado Boga Ahi. Release yourself from the serpent of material enjoyment. Pratishtasanahe Kirtana Gorav. Know that the desire for respect and adoration is not the glory of Kirtan. Radha Nitya Jan Tahit Chadimon. O mind, having given up the association of Shri Radha's eternal servants, Kenova Nirjan Bhajana Kaitav. Why have you adopted the fraudulent practice of solitary bhajan? You can see here his nature. He was very serious, very strong in his words, even for those who are practicing bhajan. He was so powerful that he could criticize, chastise, give lessons to those who are, he's saying Nirjan Bhajan, they're sitting in different Radha Kund, doing bhajan. He was very strong against certain Babajis, Sahajiyas. He's saying, Nirjan Bhajan means they're there in the Dham doing bhajan. And yet he's saying, what kind of Vaishnav are you? Giving up the association of Radhika's Nitya Sevaks. We have to understand a little bit the history, how much they were, the Babajis were attacking the Gaudiya Math preachers. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada was establishing the point that we are a missionary movement. We are hearing from the Vaishnavas this morning that we are a missionary movement. This is what this kirtan is establishing. That we are not, that serving Srimati Radhika means preaching. If we give up this preaching mood, then Nirjana Bhajan, what kind of cheating duplicity are we doing? Kenova Nirjan Bhajana Kaita. Why are you doing this kaita, this cheating practice of so-called Nirjan Bhajan? Radha Nitya Jan, he's saying if you're doing this Nirjan Bhajan, you're Tahat Chadi Man, you're leaving the association of Radhika's eternal associates. Why? Because they didn't accept Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada and all his associates. Or why are they going here and there preaching everywhere? Better you just stay and do bhajan, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But externally, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That's why they say, but what are they doing? Daytime Hare Krishna, nighttime Laila Majnu. Romeo and Juliet. In India they call it Laila Majnu. Daytime Hare Krishna, nighttime Romeo and Juliet. I am Radhe, Tumi Sham. And let us enjoy together. Hari Bol, Hari Ram. What do they say? Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. What? Kai Machli Jol, Sui Romani Kol, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. This is what they say. Kai Machli Jol, we take like a fish rasa, fish soup. In Bengal especially famous. Sui Romani Kol, I'm sleeping in my lover's laps. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, and chanting Nitai Gaur Premanande. You can find many Lila Kirtaniyas. They do such beautiful kirtan. Touches your heart. You'll weep hearing this kirtan. Such expert mridanga players you'll never find in ISKCON, Gaudiya Math. They're so expert. And yet after the program, smoking BD, taking wine, taking ganja, and engaging in illicit practices with other men's wives. Saying we are Krishna's followers. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, in the name of bhajan, you're only doing this hypocrisy, this cheating. Because you've left the true line of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu said, Kirtaniya Parishram Jani Gorarai. Mahaprabhu wanted everyone to, under the Nityananda Prabhu said, Gare Gare Jao Mange Bhiksha Bolo Krishna Bhaja Krishna Koro Krishna Shiksha. Mahaprabhu came, he's doing the Audarya movement. Audarya means magnanimity. Spreading this beauty of Shri Radha Krishna's eternal bhakti. Spreading this. So if we are not engaged in serving the Guru Vaishnavas who are engaged in this service, then we are leaving Radha Nitya Jan Chadi. What is it saying here? Radha Nitya Jan Taha Chadi Man. Oh mine, why are you leaving Radhika's Nitya Jan, her eternal associates, and doing the pretense of bhajan? Radhika's Nityajan means they're doing the opposite. They're not doing Nirjan Bhajan. They're always serving everybody. Prayana Deva Muniya Mukta Kama. Prahlad Maharaj said, those who are selfish are sitting in their cave, only thinking about themselves. Those who are truly magnanimous, who have this Audarya mood. Audarya means magnanimity. Mahaprabhu, what did he do? He was Audaryamai Vigraha, the embodiment of magnanimity. He came as Krishna and Srimati Radhika together to what? Rashika Shekara Krishna Parama Karun. Raga Marga Bhakti Loke Kodite Prachara. He came to preach this Raga Marga Bhakti Loke, to preach it. So we are a missionary movement. This is very important, what Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada is establishing, that everyone is eligible to serve in this missionary movement. And we should not become complacent and only think about ourselves, because if we don't have the eligibility for Nirjan Bhajan, it's not that we are not supposed to do Bhajan, but without the eligibility for that, you externally, artificially, superficially try to meditate, oh Radha Krishna are doing this in the Kunj, and I'm sitting there thinking of this. Then Gurudev said, only lust increases, because your heart is so full of anarthas, then you'll be bound. We see sometimes some devotees, followers of Gurudev, always, all day long, reading Govinda Lila Amrita, Ananda Vrindavan Champu, Krishna Bhavan Amrita, day and night reading, and then within a short time, one wife, then left, then another wife, then left, then another wife. Why? They are trying to imitate, oh, Radha Krishna is very sweet pastimes. I have to get one Radharani for myself. One, oh, she is Radhika. Her name is Radhika. Her name is Radha. Her name is Radharani. Oh, she is Radhika Dasi. No problem. But this is only, the mind is cheating us. Therefore, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada starts saying, Dushtamana tumi Kishra Vaishnav, wicked mind, what kind of Vaishnav are you? Pratishtara tare nirjanira ghare tava harinam kevala kaitab. You're sitting in your room, your own room, in a solitary place, so-called chanting Harinam, only desiring your own name and fame. Pratishta. Pratishtara tare. Only for the sake of your name and fame, you're doing this. Therefore, you're cheating others. Then he continues. Worldly fame is the excrement of hogs. Again, showing Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada's strong nature. Shukarera Bishta. This is like a bad word in Bengali. You know, he's like saying to the, oh, you Bhavajis, so-called Nirjan Bhajan, oh, chanting, nighttime what doing? Only desiring name and fame. You are reveling in hog stool. Oh, very nice. Jano naki taha maya ravai bhav. This is only maya. Kanaka kamini divasa jamini bhavya ki kaj anitya shesab. What is the use of fixating day and night on wealth and women when all these are temporary? We'll continue. Third verse. Your wealth is the source of sense enjoyment. Use it to serve Madhava, the husband of Lakshmi Devi. Fulfilling the desires of women is not your domain. For their sole master is Sri Yadava. He alone can fulfill or satisfy their desires. Kama nirakam nahi tavadam tahara malik kevala jadav. Only Krishna can please and satisfy the desires of everyone. And ultimately all jivas are prakriti. This is established in the Bhagavad Gita. Apariyam itastvamyam prakritim virime param. The jivas are the para prakriti. And Shri Krishna is the param purush, the supreme purush. And the jivas are, this is in Bhagavad Gita, this is not speculation. Apariyam itastvanyam prakritim virime param jiva bhuta mahadaho yayatim dharyate jagat. All the jivas are prakriti, means they are all meant to serve Shri Krishna, to please Shri Krishna. And Krishna is the param purush, meant to receive the adoration and the love and the service of all living entities. So therefore, how can we try to enjoy prakriti? This is the original perversion. In this world nowadays, we see so many perversions based on this original perversion. That's why we say everyone is transgender. Everyone. Vaishnavas say in Vrindavan many times, whether man or woman, everyone is trying to be Purush, but everyone is Prakriti. I got in big trouble before for repeating exactly what the Vaishnavas said. Wearing jeans, trying to control everything, trying to be men. Said nowadays there's no women left. Don't get mad at me. This is exactly the quoting Vaishnavas. Everyone is trying to be Purush. Men are trying to be Purush, but they're Prakriti. Women are trying to be Purush, and they want to control everything. I am in charge. And if you don't follow me, you're not a Vaishnav. You don't know, I chant every day 64 rounds. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. And now I know everything. I've chanted for so long, and now I know everything. And now all these Vaishnavas, they only peel potatoes. They've been peeling potatoes for 50 years. But I've been chanting Harinam 64 rounds. Don't you know who I am? But not one pure name. Only Namaparad, Pratishtara Tare. Only for one's own name and fame. Radha Nityajan Tahe Chariman. Oh mind, you've left Radharani's eternal associates. You're not in Anugatya of her eternal associates. What value is your Harinam? Radhika does not look how much Harinam you've chanted. She looks, who are you under guidance of? I have sent my kinkaris to this world. Radharani has sent her Nityajan. Radha Nityajan Tahe Chariman. Radharani has sent her Nityajan. Srila Gurudev, our Acharyas, Vaishnavas. They're Radhika's Nityajan. If we're not under guidance of her Nityajan, we can never get Radha Dasyam. Why? It's said in the verse before this, in that same stanza. Radha Dasya Rohi Chade Bhoga Ahi. If you're not in the service of Srimati Radhika, how are you going to get Krishna Prem? Krishna Prem is the wealth of Srimati Radhika. It's her property. Without her mercy, you cannot get it. And Radha Nityajan Tahe Chariman. If you give up the association of her Nityajan, you're not going to get this Prem. You can chant Koti Janma Shravana Kirtan. You can chant for tens of millions of lifetimes and not get this Prem. That's the Srimad Chaitanya Charitamrita. Mahaprabhu said, Koti Janma Jadi Shravana Kirtan Tabudana Pai Krishna Padi Premadan. Why? Why? They asked, Mahaprabhu, what do you mean? They're chanting for tens of millions of lifetimes and not getting Krishna Prem. Tabu Jane Aparad Prachur. There are so many aparads. What is the original aparad? Going away from aparad. Apagata Radha iti aparad. Going away from Radha Nityajan, then we are committing aparad. So how will we get Krishna Prem? And what are the Vaishnavas telling us? We should follow. This is not that we should not chant 64 rounds. We have to chant. But the underlying problem has to be solved. Otherwise, everything you're doing, building upon it, the foundation is broken. Like they say in math. Prabhupada Swami Maharaj would talk about the scientists. They're very intelligent. They come up with so many, you could say, ingenious things. But because the foundation is flawed, the original proposition is flawed, everything built upon it is flawed. So until we're under guidance of Radha Nityajan, then all our bhajan is useless. It has no value. Ashraya loya bhaje tare Krishna nahi tyaje arshav more akaran. Everyone dies, lives and dies like an animal. Narottam Das Thakur sings, without ashraya. Without coming under, we are hearing this morning also in the class. Ashraya Jati. Unless we come under the shelter of the Ashraya Jati of Bhagavan, those devotees who are Shakshad Haritvena. The pure devotees are Shakshad Haritvena. Non-different from Krishna, but they are Ashraya Jatiya. Vishaya Jatiya, Ashraya Jatiya. The pure devotees are Ashraya Jatiya. Unless you're under shelter of those in Ashraya Luya Bhaje, Tare Krishna Nahi Tyaje. Krishna doesn't accept it. Sad Anga Sharanagati Hoy Bechahar Tahara Prartana Shune Srinanda Kumar. Krishna will not even hear your prayers. Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings, Sad Anga Sharanagati Hoy Bechahar. Unless you're surrendered, Tahara Prartana Shune. Nanda Kumar is not hearing. Paramatma may hear. Brajendra Nandan Shamsundar Krishna doesn't hear. Why? Oh, you're not under guidance of my Radha Nityajan. So why will I listen to you? Or you yourself, or you can, Gurudev would say, you can put your hand in your heart and know, am I a pure devotee or not? I'm not a pure devotee. People can understand. People know. Am I a Kanishta? Am I not even a Kanishta? Am I a Madhyam? Unless you're having realized your Swarup Siddha, your spiritual perfected form, truly realized it, and you're internally serving Srimati Radhika and Krishna, then you're not a pure devotee, really. You're not truly pure, and therefore you have to be under guidance of someone like that. Somehow, we were reading today, someone posted that Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, those who think there will not be another pure devotee, Those who think there will not be a pure devotee after me, they are atheists. Those who think, oh, there are no more pure devotees. Oh, Gurudev left, now no one is a pure devotee. They are atheists. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said. So we can put our hands on our heart. Am I a pure devotee? Yes or no? If I'm not a pure devotee, where is the pure devotee? Where is the pure devotee? If I cannot find them, then I should think, Pashana Kitibo Mata Anale Pashivo, I should enter into fire or smash my head upon a rock. Where is the pure devotee? And then whenever they tell me to do, I accept. Oh, you want me to go here? You want me to go there? Yes, I am a kinkari. Kinkari means what to do. Oh, Gurudev, what to do? Kinkari. In some of our acharyas, they give the devotees names. Oh, Kinkar Prabhu. Or Kinkari Didi. Kinkar. It means Kinkor, what to do. This is how to follow Radhika. If we want to follow Radhika's Nityajan, why do people not like to follow Radhika's Nityajan? Because constant seva. It's much easier. Oh, I know Pratishta. If you follow the Vaishnavas, you don't know how much they will hammer your ego. Those who have been in class from pure Vaishnavas, up front and personal. Srila Govinda Goswami Maharaj, you want to sit in front of him and you think you're going to have a big ego. He'll take his danda, he'll take his cane, he'll take his shoes, he'll throw it at you. Take his mala and beat you with it. You want to sit in front of the pure devotee and maintain your prestige, your puffed up ego? Oh, it's not possible. They will smash it into a million pieces and then throw it in the garbage. And then when they make you a humble servant, then they'll give you your seva adhikar. So that's why many people, and what else do they do? Constant engagement in seva. So many people, they don't like to follow Radha Nityajan because, if I leave Radha Nityajan, then I can develop so much prestige. Everyone will worship me. Oh, Gurudev, Sadgurudev Bhagavan. 100,008, 1,000,008, Sadgurudev. But in their own lives, what are they following? We see many big so-called gurus fall down and you find out, they're eating chicken, they're eating steak. They're telling everyone, be vegetarian, but their own cooks are cooking meat for them. In India, we found many cases like that. They're not following the pure devotees, and this is called the guru business. The guru business means, it's very good. You see the gurus, they get so much name and fame. I should also be a guru, it's a good vocation. There's a story we hear, one preacher says, I won't mention the name, but he said, you become a doctor, how much can you get per hour? You become a lawyer, how much can you get per hour? And gurus, we have hundreds of thousands of crores of rupees. What do we have to do? Only once in a while I'll give some classes. And we become so wealthy. Better to become a guru business. But, Dushtamana Tumi Kirshara Vaishnav. You can be a guru, but are you a Vaishnav? You're not a Vaishnav. Real Vaishnav is guru. Vaishnav Matra Jagat Guru. Real Vaishnavas are all gurus. But, am I a Vaishnav? This is the question. I am not a Vaishnav. Oh, wicked mind, what kind of Vaishnav are you? In the name of bhajan, I'm only trying to acquire wealth, women, and prestige. Then I am a Bhakka Guru. I think I am a great Guru if I feel surrounded by temples, disciples, followers. Whatever Mahaprabhu said we should not aspire for, I want to get. Dhanam, Mahaprabhu said, I don't want wealth. Nadanam, Najanam, I don't want followers. Karnaka Kamini, I don't want wealth, women, prestige, anything. I only want your bhakti. Stita Duli Sadrisana, I just want to be like a speck of dust at your lotus feet. But now I want to be a big guru. I want as many followers, as many possessions, as many temples, as much as I can get. Oh, please give me Krishna. And then we're chanting 1 lakh Harinam every day. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, Krishna, make me a big guru. This is not Harinam. This is only like the austerities of Ravan. The austerities of Hiranyakashipu. 60,000 years doing austerities to become the big spiritual master, the big controller of the entire universe. Doing so much bhajan, more than we can ever do. We shouldn't think. Sometimes we hear stories, ghost stories. Sometimes like a Brahmin Rakshasa someone sees in India. Or like a very fearsome ghost. And then you start chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. The devotees would chant to them. And these demons would laugh and say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I also know this mantra. What are you going to do to me? Oh, you're not a real devotee. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Demons also know these mantras. Kam, Gayatri, in certain secret societies, they also chant these mantras. But what? Only for material enjoyment. Only for wealth, position, prestige. Secret societies, you get into the higher levels, what do they chant? They follow all the Vedic teachings. But like Ravan followed them. Ravan also followed the Vedas. You can find Ravan's book was bigger than the Bhagavad Gita, bigger than the Bhagavatam. Ravan's book, you go to Loy Bazaar, you can buy Ravan's book, it's like 1,500 pages. Ravan Sanghita. And it's only one part, there's many parts. And he gave so much intelligent instructions, but he followed all the Vedic teachings. But his heart was not surrendered to Krishna, not surrendered to the devotees. Only I am the Purush, I am the master. So this is the root problem. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada is trying to uproot this deeply embedded anartha in the heart. That I want to be the enjoyer like Krishna. I want to enjoy everything. I will be guru, I will be acharya, but I will not be a pure devotee. I will not do bhajan to become a devotee. Instead, I'll only take on the external characteristics, the external dress. I will imitate guru, and then I will go to hell. Vaishnavi Pratishta, also why? Because we're envious of the Vaishnavas Pratishta. We see the Vaishnavas have so much name and fame. I can also get this. So then the next verse, Prabhupada says, Vaishnavi Pratishta tate koronishta, have faith and great honor and respect in the Vaishnavas Pratishta. The Vaishnavas are being glorified. You should have so much happiness towards that. Ebejas kusuk tribhuvan. Our service to Srila Gurudev is to glorify him, to spread his glories. Ebejas kusuk tribhuvan. Hari jana dvesh pratistasha klesh karo keno tabe tahara godav. Envying the devotees of Hari is an affliction arising from your desire for prestige. So those who are criticizing Vaishnavas, it is born of envy. And the envy is coming from their desire for pratishta. I will do kirtan for pratishta. Oh, I will do kirtan and so many people will praise me and give me likes and hearts. But I am envious of the devotees and I'm criticizing the devotees. Kara keno tabe tahara godav. Vaishnavera pache pratishtara ache. Pratishta is always with the Vaishnavas. It said that if you're a real devotee, Kanaka, Kamini, all these things will follow behind you. Real devotees, it's not that they don't have temples, don't have followers, beautiful ladies, beautiful men, everything. Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Prabhupada. He had nothing. He came to America, had nothing, and then hundreds and hundreds of temples, thousands of beautiful girls following him, young men following him, everything. So real Vaishnavas, so much name and fame. We were talking about Prabhupada. He was taking a gold glass, and the reporter was saying, oh, you are some kind of guru. You're drinking from a gold glass. He said, you are envious. Well, I'm the servant of God. If I don't take this, then you will not be happy. I'm doing this for him. Oh, why are you riding in the airplane? You have these nice cars. Why? I'm God's messenger. But he is like that. That's why we're also talking about who said this is an important thing we were hearing the other day. Did Jesus say he was God? Did Muhammad say he was God? I am the servant of God. I am the messenger of God. But Krishna said, I am God. So why don't we follow him? Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Prabhupada, we were listening to his class. I don't know if you were all listening with us, but we were listening and he said, why don't you accept? He was talking in Los Angeles to many professors. He said, Jesus didn't say he was God. He said, I am the son of God. Muhammad said, I am the messenger of God. But Krishna said, I am God. Follow me. Brahmano hi pratishtaham pitamata tatamata. He said, Bhoktaram jagyatapasam, I am the joy of all sacrifice. Aham sarvasya prabhavo, everything emanates from me. Itad evasam evagre nanyat yat sarasat param. Everything comes from me, worship me. Krishna alone said this, but we don't accept. So Prabhupada, Guru Varga, they will say, oh, I am Krishna's messenger. I am coming here. I am your ever well-wisher. He can say that because he has that capacity. He's really helping all souls. He's really nourishing and uplifting all jivas. He is therefore like our Gurudev, Narayan. Means all living entities can take shelter and rest. Resting place in his shelter. This is the nature of the true acharyas. So we'll finish here one more and then we'll keep going tomorrow. So real Vaishnavas are naturally, everything follows behind them automatically. All mystic siddhis, all wisdom, all knowledge, everything. All followers, all temples, automatically follows behind them. But they're facing Krishna. Not Krishna Bahirmukh, Krishna Unmukh. Because they're looking at Krishna, behind them all Maya comes. But when we're looking towards Maya, we don't get Maya. When we're looking at Maya, Maya is always one step ahead, 10 steps ahead. We're chasing Maya, Maya is receding, receding, receding. But if we face Krishna, You face Krishna, the light, then behind you, Maya is present. But you face the darkness, face Maya, and the light's behind you, then the further you go into the darkness, the further it gets away. You can never grasp it. We try to grasp Maya, but it's just a mirage we're chasing. We're chasing that. But if we turn towards Krishna, then the Vaishnavas, everything follows behind them. So this is the glory of the Vaishnavas. She Hari Sambandha Shunya Maya Gandha Taha Kabunaya Jadera Kaitava. Those devotees have spiritual fame that follows the Vaishnavas is never to be considered a temporary material glory, for it occurs in relationship to Sri Hari and is devoid of the stench of Maya. In it, there is never any mundane duplicity. So we'll stop on that verse and we'll continue tomorrow, verse number 5. We'll do it for Kirtan. It's important again to remember that what do we sing in the morning? Every day we're supposed to sing Vaishnav Vandana, the glories of the Vaishnavas. And there we say, Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dhare Jane Jane, Evera Purane Guna Gaya Jeva Sune. The pure Vaishnavas, they have the power, they can uplift the entire universe. This is their glories. What can we do? Can we even help one living entity, one soul? But the Vaishnavas are so glorious. Therefore we should develop Nishta, Vaishnava Pratishta Tate Koro Nishta. Develop great faith in the glories of the Vaishnavas, in the fame of the Vaishnavas, and take it as our life's duty. When we sing Shri Guru Charada Padma, we sing, Oh, Eve Jas Gusuk Tribhuvan, Shri Guru Patita Pavan, Eve Jas Gusuk Tribhuvan. Oh Gurudev, please engage me in your service. May I spread your fame all over the world. So we stop there for today, and we'll continue to remember the glories of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada and all our Guru Varga, and try to enter into the realm of bhajan sincerely, without duplicity, without a cheating mentality, by following these immortal instructions of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, chanting Harinam under guidance of Vaishnavas, preaching, serving, as they like we should do. In the Gaudiya Math times, we were listening to this morning. After breakfast, all day out preaching. So nowadays with COVID-19, we cannot preach so easily. But there's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. There's always a way. And Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada also said that we should utilize whatever tools are available for propagating Krishna consciousness. Whatever tools become available, whatever the scientists invent, whatever means of communication, there's so many ways now. You may think, in Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada's time, they would go and pass out magazines on the tram, the buses here and there, or they would go and distribute books or beg bhiksha. I cannot do that, so I don't have to preach. But what, you can't pick up a phone and look in the phone book and start making calls? You cannot type and message people online? You cannot spread preaching online? You think if Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, he is present, he would not use the internet? Why not? We can be 8 hours a day, we cannot be out in the street distributing books. 1 hour a day we can be spreading Krishna consciousness online with whatever intelligence we have, whatever means we can. There's so many ways to do it. Where there's a will, there's a way. You think these businesses run without working hard? IBM, Apple, Facebook, YouTube, you think all they do is sit back and everything runs on automatically like magic, and they make billions of dollars and control the world. It's all based virtually. You see now in COVID times, they said in 3 months, 3 years of progress were made digitally, virtually. Everything is becoming digitalized. And you see, if you look at all these online businesses, all the virtual businesses, their stocks are skyrocketing. And all the brick and mortar stores, they're closing business. Even like movie theaters, chains, they're all closing. But everything that's digital, virtual is skyrocketing. So we can't use that to preach. We can't call people. There's so many ways to do it. But we have to engage. And Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada is establishing that we are a missionary movement. We are followers of Radha Nityajan, who have come to this world in Gaur Parshads, Gauranga Mahaprabhu's associates, who have come from Brajadam. They've come here to preach, for nothing else. They've come here to preach. They are eternally serving Radha Krishna, and there they are absorbed in the Madhuryamai pastimes, the very sweet pastimes of Radha Krishna. And in this world, they're absorbed in Audaryamai pastimes, the magnanimous spreading of this Raga Marga Bhakti Loke, Kodite Pracharam. That's what they're doing. So if we're leaving them and we're thinking, I'll just hide in a room and chant Harinam, then we're leaving them, Chariman. And, we think we'll get the mercy by chanting Harinam all day, Haribol. So we have to chant Harinam, but it's not that we don't chant Harinam. In the Gaudiya Math, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, better you eat less and sleep less, but chant 64 rounds. How much time does it take? 4 hours to chant 64 rounds. If you're doing it every day, great Vaishnavas who chant 3 lakhs a day, they do it in 3 hours. Because it becomes, like we were talking about yesterday, every pore of your being is Harinam when you're constantly chanting like that. 4 or 5 hours, 1 lakh finished. 4 hours, 1 lakh finished. Okay, if you're slow, 8 hours, but as you do it every day, it's possible. Why? You can do in your mind, Manasi, Japa, 1 lakh, or certain amount of rounds, and it goes very fast. Why? You don't have to move your tongue. It's at the speed of the mind. You just have to visualize the names, and visualize each of the names, and like that you can chant Harinam. Manasik Japa. Manasik Japa is one of the kinds of Japa. So that is very fast. And then loudly chanting, slower, softly chanting, faster, but you mix these 3 up, you can very quickly chant. But it's not that, what I'm saying is, it's not that they don't do bhajan, not that they don't chant Harinam, but it's not that they don't do anything else also. Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, when he was a brahmachari, every day he was 8 hours in the printing press. And he said, I'm having difficulty finishing my preaching responsibilities as well as chanting my Harinam, what should I do? He said, how much are you sleeping? 4 hours. You should sleep 2 hours. It's very hard to imitate this, but the point is that both must be there, preaching and practicing. So we'll stop there. We'll do a short kirtan. Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. We were reading this class before we started online, and it was very nice because he was talking about his true desire was to preach this Rag Marga Bhakti Lok, Korite Prachar. So we'll do a nice kirtan to please Srila Prabhupada. We'll do Shri Rupa Manjari Pada. Understanding that this preaching is also Radha Dasya, takes advancement. That's what he's saying. Radha Dasya, they're already saying it without, you're leaving Radha Dasyam. You're leaving Radha Nityajan and only doing Nirjan Bhajan. So how can we understand? Normally people think Radha Dasyam is like, oh, I'm just a maid servant making garlands and running, doing this Radha Dasyam in Braj Leela. But Gaur Leela is different. Radha Dasyam in Gaur Leela is preaching. Page 50. Shri Rupa Manjari Pada Shri Mora Sampada Shri Rupa Manjari Pada Shri Mora Sampada Shri Mora Bhajana Pujana Shri Mora Bhajana Pujana Shri Mora Bhajana Pujana Shri Mora Bhajana Pujana Shri Mora Prana Dhana Shri Moraya Bharana Shri Mora Bharana Shri Mora Bharana Shri Mora Jivan Jivana Shri Mora Jivan Jivana Shri Mora Jivan Jivana Shri Mora Rasa Nidhi Shri Mora Vansha Siddhi Shri Mora Rasa Nidhi Shri Mora Vansha Siddhi Shri Mora Vidhe Radharama Shri Mora Vidhe Radharama সে মোরা বেদের ধরম সে ব্রত সে তপ সে মোরা মন্ত্র জপ সে মোরা ধর্ম করম সে মোরা ধর্ম করম अनुकूल হবে विधि से पढ़ने पंच अनुकूल হবে विधि से पढ़े হইবে অনুকূল হবে विधि से पढ़े হইবে সেটি অনিরকিব এ দুই নয়নে সে রূপা মাধুরী রসি প্রাণ কুবলয় শশী সে রূপা মাধুরী রসি প্রাণ কুবলয় শশী অপ্রফুল্লিত হবে নিশিদিনে তু আয়া দর্শনায়াহি গরলে জরল দেহি চিরদিনা তাপিত জীবনা চিরদিন তপিত জীবনা প্রভু কর ধয়া দেহ মোরে পদ চয় প্রভু কর দয়া দেহ মোরে পদ চয় প্রভু কর ধয়া দেহ মোরে পদ চয় প্রভু নরতমলয়ীনু শরণা নরতমলয়ীনু শরণা বল কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে হরে রাম রাম হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে বলো হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে জয় গুরুদেবা গুরুদেবা জয় গুরুদেবা জয় প্রভুপাদা Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Saparshada Srila Prabhupada, Saparshada Srila Prabhupada. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Garangan Navigri Shadha Vinodhi Hari Ju Ki Jai. Paramaradithan Guru Pad Padma Mishtapad Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudeva Ki Jai. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Trivikram Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Parshad Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhuji Maharaj Ki Jai. Sabdam Goswami Siddhananda Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. Vaishnava Sarvama Srila Jagannatha Prabhuji Maharaj Ki Jai. समस्त रूपानुग गौरी गुरुवर की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भद्र रघुनाथ जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ सत्य स्वामी वृंद की जय। नाम दास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपी गो गोवर्धन द्वार सदनाम मंडल धाम की जय। श्याम कुंद राधा कुंज मुंडा गंगा तुलसी भक्ति देवी की जय। छरि संप्रदाय छरि 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 धाम की जय। तो कृष्ण वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशव कृष्ण भक्ति गुरुदेवी सत्यवते नमो। वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।